The danger of skipping breakfast in old age. A quiet habit that may be slowly stealing your strength after 60. You open your eyes, the sun's up, the house is still. Coffee's brewing, maybe, but the appetite, it's not there. So you think, no big deal, I'll eat later. Or maybe you've gotten used to skipping breakfast altogether. After all, you're retired, no rush, no work clock. Some days you barely notice. And besides, you've heard about fasting, right? Maybe you've read a few articles or seen a friend talk about giving the gut a break. So you figure, why not me? Let me tell you why. As a physician who has worked with thousands of older adults, I've seen it too many times. People who skip breakfast thinking it's harmless, even helpful, only to watch their health decline in ways they never connected to that one quiet morning habit. The truth? Skipping breakfast after 60 isn't just missing a meal. It's missing a chance to protect your brain, your muscles, your heart, and even your independence. A habit that feels harmless until it's not. Unlike a bad fall or a diagnosis, skipping breakfast doesn't come with alarms. There's no sharp cane, no warning sign. Just subtle changes. You feel more tired in the morning. You forget small things more often. Your balance isn't as steady. You snap at loved ones over small things. Your pants fit looser, but your legs feel weaker. Sound familiar? These signs don't scream you skipped breakfast. But underneath, that daily decision has consequences. The morning meal, more than just fuel. Breakfast isn't just about calories. It's about signaling your body that it's time to function fully. When you eat in the morning, you stabilize blood sugar and energy, signal your muscles to preserve mass, help your brain make neurotransmitters, activate your metabolism, reset your cortisol and stress rhythm, protect against fatigue, falls, and frailty. But when you don't, you stay in fasting mode, which for older bodies isn't gentle, it's demanding. You're asking your heart to work harder with less fuel. You're letting your blood sugar swing like a roller coaster. You're telling your muscles, we don't need you today. And when muscles hear that too often, they fade. But I'm not hungry in the morning. Of course you're not. That's common. Older adults naturally produce less ghrelin, the hunger hormone. Your body's cues get quieter, not because you don't need food, but because aging dulls the signal. Think of it like an old smoke alarm. Still there, but faint. So you skip food and feel a little weaker. Then the next day, it's easier to skip again. And so the loop continues, quiet, unnoticed, but deadly slow. You deserve nourishment. Breakfast isn't a chore, it's a gift. It tells your body, I care about you. I want to move with energy today. I'm not giving up on strength, memory, and joy. So tomorrow morning, try again. Even something small, a boiled egg, a slice of toast with almond butter, a warm bowl of oats, can light the fuse that fuels your day. Because this isn't about calories, it's care. And you, my friend, are worth feeding, especially first thing in the morning. 1. Blood sugar crashes and that mysterious morning fog. You wake up, maybe a little slower than usual. Not exactly dizzy, but not steady either. Your hands feel colder, your mind a little cloudy. You chalk it up to just getting older. But what if I told you your body's simply running on empty? After 8, 10, sometimes 12 hours without food, your body is in a fasted state. That's normal after a night's sleep. But here's the catch. Older adults don't regulate blood sugar like they used to. That's not a flaw, it's a fact of aging. In your younger years, your pancreas responded quickly. Your liver could release stored glucose like clockwork. But now, the system's a little slower, less precise. So when you skip breakfast, your blood sugar stays low for too long. What does that really feel like? You feel lightheaded when standing. Your thoughts come slower, like you're walking through fog. You feel unusually tired, even if you slept okay. You snap at your spouse or family over small things. You're shaky, but can't tell if it's hunger or nerves. And worst of all, you get up to go to the bathroom and nearly lose your balance. This isn't just being cranky. This is hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. And in someone over 60, it's a hidden risk factor that often goes ignored until a fall or fainting spell happens. What makes it even more dangerous? If you're on blood sugar-lowering medications like insulin or sulfonylureas, glipizide, glyburide, etc., skipping breakfast doesn't just make you feel off. It can push you into dangerously low territory. Some older adults don't even feel the warning signs anymore. No hunger, no shakes, just a sudden wave of weakness or confusion. And if no one's around, that's how emergency rooms get involved. I've seen it too many times. The good news? This is totally preventable. You don't need a giant breakfast buffet. You just need something to tell your body fuel's on the way. A slice of whole grain toast with almond butter. A hard-boiled egg and half a banana. A cup of oatmeal with chopped walnuts. Something warm, something gentle, something steady. Because breakfast at this age isn't about appetite. It's about protection. It's about making sure you start your day from a place of balance, not at the edge of a cliff. 2. When you skip breakfast, your muscles pay the price. Let's talk muscle. Not about building six-packs or lifting weights at the gym. I'm talking about the kind of muscle that lets you stand up from a chair, walk across the kitchen, or catch yourself if you slip. After 60, muscle becomes your insurance policy. Without it, everything gets harder. And when you skip breakfast, you're quietly canceling that policy, bit by bit, day by day. Sarcopenia, the silent thief of strength. There's a name for this, sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass. Here's what I've seen in my own patients. First, it's just a little more effort to climb stairs. Then it's slower walking. Then comes the shuffle, the stumble, the cane. And before long, a fall, or worse, a hospital bed. What makes it worse? Skipping your first meal. Your body needs protein early in the day to stop the overnight muscle breakdown and switch into repair mode. If you skip breakfast, you're extending your fasting window to 14 to 16 hours. And guess what your body uses for fuel when no food is coming? Your muscles. What you can feel before it's too late. You feel weaker than usual, but blame it on age. You need to grip furniture to stand up. You walk slower, but don't know why. You feel tired even after sitting for hours. You've lost weight, but not the kind you wanted to lose. None of this is inevitable. It's biology, yes, but biology can be nourished. The fix, a breakfast that builds you back. Don't wait until you feel hungry. That signal dulls with age. Eat because your muscles need raw materials to rebuild. Here are some doctor-approved options that are gentle, nourishing, and effective. 2 eggs plus a slice of whole grain toast plus sautéed spinach. A bowl of Greek yogurt with chia seeds and berries. Protein oatmeal, oats plus almond butter plus a scoop of protein powder. A smoothie, unsweetened almond milk, banana, handful of nuts, and unflavored collagen or whey. Each of these options gives your body amino acids, the building blocks of lean muscle. They don't just help you maintain strength, they also help with blood sugar balance, metabolism, and energy. Final note from Dr. Prescott. When I see an older adult skipping breakfast regularly, I don't see someone being healthy or minimalistic. I see someone unknowingly inviting frailty to come knocking. So let's turn the table. Start your day with fuel, not just to eat, but to stand strong, to walk steady, to live well. Breakfast isn't optional after 60. It's protection in a bowl. And every bite says, I'm choosing strength today. Broken. 3. Skipping breakfast? Your heart might be paying the price. You may not feel it right away. No pain, no pressure, no warning signs. But when you skip breakfast, especially in your later years, there's a quiet ripple effect. And it often lands right in the most important organ of all, your heart. The morning shock to the cardiovascular system. Here's something most people don't know. Your heart is on a schedule. It's part of your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that tells your hormones, blood vessels, and metabolism what to do and when. When you eat in the morning, you clock in your metabolic system for the day. You lower morning cortisol, the stress hormone that spikes around 6 to 8 a.m. You kickstart insulin sensitivity, helping control blood sugar. You regulate blood pressure, reducing the early morning rise that can trigger strokes or cardiac events. But when you skip breakfast, you throw off that entire rhythm. Now your heart starts the day with more stress, wider blood pressure swings, poorer blood sugar control, and inflammation quietly rising in the background. What the research shows. Multiple long-term studies, including those published in journals like Circulation and JAMA, have found that people who regularly skip breakfast have a 21 to 27% higher risk of heart disease, increased levels of LDL cholesterol, the bad kind, more incidence of hypertension and stroke in later life, and a greater likelihood of metabolic syndrome. And these effects are even more pronounced in older adults, especially if they're already managing conditions like high blood pressure or type 2 diabetes. What you might notice but not connect to breakfast. You feel more edgy in the morning, even without caffeine. Your blood pressure readings are high, even if you're medicated. You get dizzy or lightheaded mid-morning. You crash before lunch. Your cholesterol numbers don't improve, even on a heart-healthy diet. What's missing? Your morning fuel. The right kind of breakfast for a happy heart. Let's be clear, I'm not saying you need to eat sugary cereal or pancakes drowned in syrup. I'm talking about a cardiovascular-friendly breakfast, the kind that supports your arteries, calms your cortisol, and steadies your blood sugar. Try this. Oatmeal with chia seeds, cinnamon, and walnuts. Avocado toast on whole grain bread with a boiled egg. Berry smoothie with flaxseed and unsweetened almond milk. Or a simple bowl of quinoa porridge with olive oil and a side of fruit. Add magnesium-rich greens like spinach if you can. And drink water first before the coffee. A final note from Dr. Jonathan Prescott. In my years of practice, I've had patients spend thousands on heart meds, stents, and stress tests while still skipping breakfast every morning, thinking it was no big deal. But the body doesn't forget. If you're over 60, eating a calm, nourishing breakfast is one of the most powerful acts of self-protection you can give your heart. Because prevention doesn't always come in a pill. Sometimes it starts with a plate, a quiet moment, and a decision to treat your body like it's worth the rhythm. 4. No breakfast after a sleepless night? Welcome to the fatigue loop. Let's be honest, sleep after 60 isn't what it used to be. You wake up more often, your bladder taps you at 2 a.m., your joints ache, and even when you do sleep through the night, you rarely wake up feeling fully refreshed. Now add skipping breakfast into that picture, and what you get is a chronic fatigue loop that's hard to break. Why sleep and breakfast are secret teammates. Here's what I've learned after decades of clinical work with older adults. Poor sleep drains your energy. Skipping breakfast prevents your body from recovering. And the next night, you sleep even worse. That cycle continues, and before long, people tell me, I'm always tired, even after a nap. I need coffee just to function. I go hours without eating, then crash by 3 p.m. If that sounds familiar, your body isn't lazy. It's underfueled. How a good breakfast reboots your morning engine. When you eat a nourishing meal after waking, especially after a rough night, you balance cortisol, your body's natural stress hormone. Stabilize blood sugar so you don't crash mid-morning. Support adrenal recovery, which influences energy and sleep. Provide the brain with glucose, its primary fuel. Try this. Oats with nuts and berries. A soft boiled egg with avocado toast. Greek yogurt with flax and cinnamon. Simple, gentle, effective. No breakfast? These hidden symptoms. You feel unmotivated to start the day. You nap too early, but still feel groggy. You rely on sugar or caffeine to wake up. You get irritable for no obvious reason. Your appetite disappears until late afternoon. If you've been chalking it up to just getting older, think again. It may be the missing meal, not missing youth. 5. Breakfast for the brain, mood, memory, and mental clarity. I'll say this plainly. Breakfast is a brain food ritual, not a trend, not optional, essential. And when you skip it, especially in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, your brain notices. What science and my patients reveal. Clinical studies show that seniors who eat breakfast regularly score better on memory and attention tests, report less depression and anxiety, maintain sharper thinking throughout the day. One notable study in the Journal of Clinical Psychiatry even linked regular breakfast skipping with early signs of cognitive decline. And I've seen this firsthand. A patient of mine, a retired teacher, began skipping breakfast during a weight loss phase. Within months, she reported foggy thinking, trouble recalling names, and increased sadness. Once we reintroduced a balanced morning meal, her focus, mood, and energy improved noticeably. Why it happens? Your brain runs on glucose and essential fatty acids in the morning. Without it, your neurons run on fumes. You're more likely to experience trouble concentrating on conversations, forgetting appointments or tasks, a general sense of being off or irritable, increased dependence on sugary snacks for a temporary lift. Breakfast doesn't have to be big, it has to be strategic. Think a slice of whole grain toast with nut butter, cottage cheese with blueberries, a smoothie with greens, protein, and flaxseed oil. Fuel your brain like it matters, because it does. Dr. Prescott's final thought for today. If you're waking tired, feeling foggy, or snapping at the smallest things, don't just ask what's wrong. Ask, did I feed my brain this morning? Because long before memory loss becomes clinical, it whispers through skipped meals, lost routines, and underfed mornings. And if you want to keep your mind bright, start with a humble act of love. Eat something good in the morning. 7. Why your pills may not work without that first bite. Let me ask you something I've asked hundreds of my older patients. When was the last time you took your medication on an empty stomach? Too many nod yes, and too many don't realize the risk until it shows up in their blood pressure, their digestion, or worse, the side effects that creep up without warning. The truth most people don't hear from their pharmacist. When the label says take with food, it's not a polite suggestion. It's a requirement for safety and effectiveness, especially as we age. Skipping breakfast can delay medication absorption, leaving it useless until lunch. Irritate the stomach lining, especially with NSAIDs or aspirin. Disrupt blood sugar control, especially with diabetes meds. Weaken the intended effect, making your treatment plan less reliable. I've seen patients with beautifully written prescriptions but poor results simply because breakfast was missing. Real talk, the meds that rely on morning meals. These include metformin, glipizide, insulin, blood sugar, lisinopril, amlodipine, beta blockers, blood pressure, aspirin, ibuprofen, pain and inflammation, calcium supplements, bone health. Even certain antidepressants and thyroid meds need gentle stomach buffering. So when your doctor or pharmacist says with food, think with breakfast. Not coffee, not air, food. But what if you're just not hungry? Ah yes, this is the silent epidemic I see all the time. Doc, I just don't feel hungry in the morning. Always been that way. Here's the catch. As we age, our ghrelin levels, that lovely little hunger hormone, naturally decline. Appetite softens, digestion slows, smells don't trigger cravings like they used to. But that doesn't mean your body doesn't need nourishment. It just means you have to listen deeper. Why this matters more than you think. Skipping food because you're not hungry often leads to muscle breakdown by midday, weakness and balance issues, poor medication absorption, late-day overeating, slower wound healing, emotional flatness or irritability. You may not feel the hunger, but your body still feels the deficit. Gentle morning ideas from my patients. Here's what real seniors have found helpful, and maybe you will too. Warm lemon water. Not a meal, but a nudge. It kickstarts digestion, hydrates gently, and signals the body it's time to wake up. Mini smoothies. Try half a banana, protein powder, almond milk, and flaxseed. Full nutrition, no chewing. Soft-boiled egg plus toast. Light, warm, and comforting. Add a slice of avocado if you're feeling fancy. Grain oatmeal with berries. Fiber, antioxidants, and easy to prep the night before. Even half portions count. You're not eating for volume, you're eating for function. Dr. Prescott's reminder. If you're taking meds, your first bite of food is part of the prescription. It's not about forcing breakfast, it's about making it friendly to the body that's gotten you this far. A little nutrition in the morning is like a handshake to your medication. Hi, I'm here to help you do your job. Reclaim your mornings, one gentle bite at a time. Let me be honest with you. No one's asking you to become a breakfast champion overnight. You don't need to wake up and make a full diner-style spread with pancakes and sausage. But what you do need is consistency and a small, loving ritual that says, I care for this body I've lived in for over 6 decades. What a morning ritual really does for you. When you give your body a gentle, reliable dose of nutrition each morning, you're not just filling your stomach, you're realigning your entire system. Brain focus, goodbye brain fog. More stable energy, no more sudden crashes. Smoother hormone flow, especially cortisol and insulin. Heart rhythm support. Strength and balance that protects your independence. And here's something I challenge many of my patients to try. The 7-day morning reset. Eat a small, balanced breakfast every morning for 1 week. Then ask yourself, did I feel more clear-headed, less anxious, more in control of my day? Don't take my word for it. Let your body answer. Final thoughts. Your freedom is on the line. Let's not sugarcoat it. Skipping breakfast at 70 isn't the same as skipping breakfast at 30. In later life, your body becomes more sensitive to the rhythms of care and neglect. What feels like just skipping a meal is in truth skipping an opportunity to protect your bones, to anchor your blood sugar, to make medications work better, to stay mobile, independent, and confident, to reduce risk of falls, fatigue, or mood dips. What does eating for independence look like? It's not perfection, it's persistence. A warm mug of bone broth or herbal tea, half an avocado on toast, a boiled egg with a pinch of salt, a spoonful of yogurt and fruit, a few soaked walnuts with a drizzle of honey. Tiny acts, huge impact. Dr. Jonathan's last word. You're not just feeding your stomach, you're feeding your muscle memory, your medicine, your mindset. You're giving your future self the gift of one more walk, one more hug, one more day lived on your own terms. So tomorrow morning, don't ask if you're hungry. Ask, what would someone who loves me prepare for me right now? And go do that for yourself. Because breakfast isn't about calories, it's about care.